Now, I'm not much of a champagne drinker, but this video is brought to you by Arbor Prioritise Pleasure Passion Fruit Margarita Sour. Oh, that's so good. The channel hit 20,000 subs. Absolutely amazing. Super glad that last video did so well. I was planning on making this video around Christmas time, so it's been brought forward to the middle of summer, possibly the hottest day of the year. We don't really often get days like this, so I thought, f*** it, we'll do the video outside. So thanks for joining me in my garden here. First of all, probably a big shout out to my mate Raf. He was here when the channel hit 10,000 subs. We were doing the channel together. Since then, Raf's decided to move on to greener pastures. He's got his own stuff going on. Super grateful for everything he's ever done for the channel over the years. And, mate, if you're watching this one's for you. As a way of celebrating, I thought what I'd do is I'd take the teeny tiny sliver of internet influence that I've managed to gather over the last 10 years or so. And I thought I'd use that to help promote some smaller channels. My plan was to do a 20 under 20k. So here are 20 creators who are all under 20,000 subs. Stuff that I watch. This is about subjects that I like. Not all of it is gaming. It's quite varied and quite diverse. But if you're one of those people who said, oh, I wish you were still making more gaming videos, then maybe there's something here for you. Before we get started, I've got 2 honourable mentions. First goes to the Macintosh Librarian, which is a channel I've been following for a while, and she just crossed 20,000 subs while I was writing this script, so unfortunately she can't be mentioned. Another is Nova Canoe, who is so close to crossing 20,000 subs, I expect that he will have crossed it by the time this video comes out. So those are 2 great channels, they just don't fit the criteria. Right, I'll figure out a way to randomise these so there's no bias, but here we go, 20 under 20, let's do it. Another of my oldest YouTube friends is Dakota, aka Silver Surf Punk. Dakota's brand seems to be well-researched deep dives into gaming topics that you never really thought you'd see a YouTube video about. Obscure games like Beowulf, or reappraising dead peripherals like the Kinect. Real deep dive stuff that I really like. I also like that they include skits and comedy and a beautiful doggo to stop anything getting too dry. By far though, their crowning achievement is the epic Zombie Burnout video. TRDQ stands for Transformers Reviews Done Quick. Gavin's lightning fast delivery is peppered with some of the driest wit I have ever heard. But within that, he still manages to convey a really deep love for transforming robots and for toys in general. He seems to sincerely enjoy the silliness, not just of toys, but of also being an adult man who talks about toys on the internet. Watch this channel no matter how you feel about robots, no matter how you feel about toys in general, because you will not regret spending 3 minutes watching a video about a big plastic Jar Jar Binks head. I love a channel which hyper-focuses on one specific subject. And the Turtle Nexus is exactly that. I have loved every iteration of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but really only ever on a surface level. I owned the toys, I watched the cartoons, but this channel goes deep on subjects I didn't even know existed. If you want a deep dive into a character's entire history for every different continuity, then they've got you covered. There are retrospectives on films, on comic book arcs, on animated series. It's all here, and damn, the thumbnails. Oh, we got to talk about those thumbnails. Definitely going in the ideas to steal folder on my computer. A good funny one to start with is the one about Tokka and Razar. You know, those 2 random mutants in the second film who weren't Bebop and Rocksteady? This video will tell you what happened there. I met Evan at Luxat on Instagram years ago, which sounds a bit creepy when you say it out loud. He was part of a channel called 1117 Studios. At the time we were covering similar subjects and we have like similar tastes and styles, so we immediately started getting along and we've got along really well since. Since starting his own channel a couple of years ago, Luxat has really dug down into deep computer game retrospectives, looking at cancelled games, dead franchises, dead studios. They're all really good, but I have to go with his video on Star Wars Battlefront 3. I made a video about Star Wars Battlefront 3 several years ago, and his eclipses mine in every way. HPR Shredder is an extremely rare retro gaming YouTuber in that he isn't a 45-year-old man powered by nostalgia. Instead, he's looking at these games from a cold start, having not played them as a kid, but appreciating them in a more modern context. His videos are far deeper than just, this is good, this is bad. He delves into the range of nuanced feelings that you get when you play old games on original hardware. It's a real vibe check, the CRT, the Trinitron, the original Famicom Disk System hardware. The videos are full of great photography, really good B-roll, beautiful lighting. But where do you start? I think probably you got to start with this Castlevania video. I'm never not going to give props to a Castlevania fan. Or watch his video on King Kong 2, because who else on YouTube is talking about King Kong 2? They've only been going a year, but CA Brown has already put out some great videos with some great ideas. There's loads of good gaming videos, very much of the sort of, if you like this, then you'll like this kind of variety. Really nice sort of having a cup of tea kind of videos, if you know what I mean. I really like the games for X fans idea. I actually intended to do one of these myself for all the good old Zelda clones that I've got on PC, but CA Brown is doing it and already putting so much passion into it. You've really got to check their videos out. The one that I think you should check out first is their video called Old Games Deserve Your Attention. For the Love of Comics is one of my favourite comics channels. He's so passionate about comics. He has this great positive personality, and he's just brimming over with love for the format. I love his camera work. It's really hard to film physical comics. I love the way that he manages to do this and also inject some artistry into his videos. And also I have to mention the absolutely buttery smooth voice. Probably my favourite of his recently has been the top 5 jungly comics video, partly because it taught me the word jungly and also introduced me to a whole bunch of new books. So I was cruising around my recommended videos one day, you know, chilling out, watching Warhammer videos, and then I noticed that this guy was eating pizza from Franco Manca and was drinking beer from Wiper and True. So I was like, yo, are you from Bristol? Fast forward 2 months and we met for a pint and the whirlwind romance between us began. Ed is a top bloke. His channel's focus is 2nd edition Warhammer 40k. His first major project when going onto YouTube was painting up the entire contents of the 2nd edition boxed game, which probably puts him in the top 1% of anybody who has ever owned a boxed Warhammer game. Mad respect for achieving that, and I think that's where you got to start. Shot Zero is another channel who hasn't been going long. The high concept of this channel is breaking down one single shot from a film and then structuring a whole video around it. You know, talking about the photography, the composition, film theory stuff. I don't pretend to know a lot about this subject, but I sure enjoy hearing somebody clever talking about it. I actually found their channel after seeing this video about this one shot in the original Total Recall. He then compares the shot from the old film to the new, and ultimately reinforcing the Arnold supremacy. I think I've been watching For Every Kind of Geek for a couple of years now, and I'm always struck by how they can pivot from one area of geek culture to another and not skip a beat. From TV to film to comic books to computer games, they cover it all, and all with the same level of nuance and passion. They've got really great delivery, and I've got to say, their video on Rom v Swamp Thing really scratched that itch I had since Matt Draper quit making comic book videos. Kat at Pixel a Day makes lots of thoughtful video essays on computer games. Not just the games, but their themes, their wider cultural implications, and the feelings that they conjure up in her. It's very personal, and it's very personable. All of her videos are extremely well written, they're well thought out, they're well presented, but they're still kind of chill. I feel like the video that would be my personal pick would be her video where she talks about Paradise Killer. Not actually because of the game, I've never actually played Paradise Killer, but because she also talks about The Ones Who Walk Away from Omelas, which is a short story by my favourite author, Ursula Le Guin. Critical Kate makes some brilliantly well-researched deep dives, a topic that no doubt you will notice comes up a lot in this video. She does this on games, but also other things too. Now, they haven't made a video in a while, but my favourite video of theirs is the video where they go deep on discovering the influences of Samus Aran's origins. I love anything which takes something specific and like breaks it open and looks into the background and to the context and the history, and this video is super inspirational. Oh mate, what a banger. I was over the moon when I found The Drawl. These are incredibly short, less than 5 minutes, sometimes even less than 2 minutes, videos about comic book art and comic book history. There's loads of shorts content, which is actually unique for this list. This is the only person on here who consistently makes lots of shorts. And they tend to focus more on what you might call golden era Marvel stuff. They've got some really great interviews on there, but my favourite are their own videos about their own art and illustration. A great video which combines most of these disciplines into one is the video they made on the creative origins of Jack Kirby's New Gods. Now, the one thing I love most on YouTube, and I'm sure you'll agree with this, is videos of people doing things well. And one channel I've always got a kick out of is One Credit Classics. The concept is simple: beat arcade games on one credit, hence the name. Now, not only is Ben incredibly talented at beating really hard games, even doing things like no death or no damage runs, but he's also one of the most positive people I have ever watched. These games are so hard going, but he handles it like a mensch. The video that made me fall in love with his channel was the one where he beats Ghosts and Goblins for the first time. The positivity at the end of this video is just absolutely infectious and kept me coming back for more. Quine at Kiki Crazed hasn't made many videos, but it is absolutely a case of quality over quantity. Her area of focus is definitely in the sphere of film video analysis and video essays, but she does also dabble in a little bit of gaming stuff here and there. What I like most about her videos is, as a giant dum-dum, she can scale her points down to me, and I can watch one of her videos and feel like a real smarty pants about it afterwards when I parrot her points verbatim down the pub. One of hers that I really like, and a good place to start, is the video she made about the lesbian cat people horror film, which is a thing. Elsa Sharer is a comics illustrator, and on her channel she talks about her own illustration work, but she also provides technical case studies, I suppose you'd call them, about comic construction, about graphic design, comics language. She hosts interviews with other creators about the creative process. She provides breakdowns of other artists' art styles, and she even made a short film. Elsa is a really great art tuber, and I really like the video where she breaks down Mike Mignola's art style. I didn't actually find The Crawl. The Crawl found me. Brendan started commenting on my videos, and I found his channel that way. Brendan loves dungeon crawlers and dungeon RPGs, and The Crawl is really all about that subject. He's a games developer too, having made at least one dungeon crawler of his own. He's got his own devlogs covering the process of that. I love a channel dedicated to a niche, and this is exactly it. The man loves wizardry. In fact, he has a video about how wizardry is kind of like the genre, and how all games essentially lead back to wizardry. And if you want to get into The Crawl, that's where you got to start. I've been punting Diego's channel for some time now, so if you are following me, then you've probably seen his name pop up before. The guy's an absolute hero, he's a great YouTuber, and through meeting through this hobby, we've actually become really good friends. Diego's big, high concept is talking about computer game adaptations of comic book properties, and then sometimes like other comic book related stuff. You can see through his videos that he's a fan of digging through the crates to find these weird, obscure cuts, things like mobile games which you can't play anymore. He's also the creator of Spawntember, a themed month looking at Spawn stuff, which, you know, almost came close to becoming a thing. But it's the Spider-Man stuff where I've really got to give Diego his props. What can I say about Scott? He is a foul-mouthed, reformed edgelord who loves horror games and penis jokes. There is probably nobody else out there making videos the way that Scott does. Going deep into a game, exploring its story, its aesthetics, its mechanics, all through his own twisted prism, and often pissing off the anti-woke crowd while he does it. Because that's the best thing about Scott, is throughout all the bile, all the pee-pee jokes and the contempt for bad writing, sits a serious, socially aware critique of a medium he genuinely loves. He's got videos which will change your mind on stuff. So in that vein, it's got to be the Walking Sims vid. Nico at Blast Processing specialises in talking about weird, obscure games that you've probably never heard of. Every video is a learning experience for me, and it is a genuinely rare joy when he makes a video about something that I've actually heard of. He's got a super great delivery, really impressive motion graphics, and a clear love of strange old arcade games. His most recent video about Super Mario Land is the one that I'd recommend you get started. I love Super Mario Land on the Game Boy, and obviously I know Mario is hardly obscure, but this video highlights how it's kind of the odd one out with regards to the rest of the series, and I think it's a really good place to catch the vibe. Right, before we end then, we're just going to go into the speed round, yeah? 5 seconds max. Owie Meowie's video on getting good at fishing in Skyrim, and also about how Ernest Hemingway was a real babe. I saw Dana Jean Phoenix at a gig this summer and I thought she was absolutely awesome. Watch this video where she completes a Rubik's Cube and then rips a solo on her guitar. I did a video on how 2005 was the peak of the games industry. Heaven Sent did one about 2004. They rhyme, it's like poetry. I think about Pim's Crypt's video about how horror films have an ugliness problem every time I watch a horror film. Transparency Boo made this really thoughtful and well-made video on why you don't need a backlog. Socratetris' video on I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, both the book and the PC game combined into one. Chef kiss. Well, there you have it. That's 20 great YouTubers under 20,000 subscribers. Well, actually, it's, what is it? 27 under 20? Who cares? What are you, the YouTube police? You don't get to tell me how to make videos. In fact, who do you think you are coming into my garden telling me how to make videos? Huh? Get out of here, knock. You better subscribe or I'll be coming around your house and I'll tell you how to do your hobbies.